Right, 23 February 2020, and I'm back with Mr. Khaliphani Phugeni, spokesman for POLAD. How are you, sir?
I'm okay. How are you?
Very well.
Yeah.
Today I want to talk about the POLAD conference that happened last week in Harare.
Okay.
What was it about?
It was an economic summit. We had a lot of stakeholders there, with the diplomatic community and our development partners. We also had labor there. We also had the business community. And as you know, POLAD is a dialogue platform. So our subcommittee on the economy, they put up that wonderful summit together, and you would have had different views. I mean, to have business, I mean, these are captains of industry and labor sit at the same table and share their views. His Excellency opened that summit, and you heard his speech. It was a very progressive speech, forward-looking, the one that really says, let's talk, let's see what can be done. There is no one with monopoly of ideas. He was basically speaking to himself and his government to say, we don't have a monopoly of ideas how to move this country forward. But in the same breath, even the critics don't have a monopoly of ideas. So he was simply saying, let's come together, let's see how we can kickstart this country, not for narrow party politics, but for the generality and the entire nation indeed.
Okay, so the diplomatic community was there.
Yes.
Do you think the diplomatic community in Zimbabwe is now seeing POLAD is the way forward?
Well, I don't know what that means exactly, but there's always been this feeling that ZANU-PF is intransigent. That has always been the feeling, or ZANU-PF's government is really not listening. Now they have provided a platform where they are listening, and there is no disagreement right now that POLAD, from a political point of view, is the only platform right now available for us to engage with the ruling government, as it were. So anyone who then shuns that process, they are putting themselves outside the only available platform or instrument for engaging the government of the day.
There is an issue of the constitutional amendments.
Okay.
Don't you think that will need a mediator if there's no agreement?
There's no agreement. No, at POLAD there's agreement. The chairperson of that subcommittee, or by the way, that doesn't even need to refer to the subcommittee. The plenary has already approved the rejection, the wholesome rejection of the proposed amendments. So there's no need for any mediator because there's agreement there. All the 17, 18 parties that are involved at POLAD, they're in agreement that this must be rejected. And by the way, ZANU-PF is part of POLAD.
So who is now pushing these amendments if ZANU-PF has agreed?
No, maybe let me remind you again. Remember, POLAD is an advisory platform, so to speak. After we have these things, we advise the government. We advise the executive. So it is up to the executive whether they take our advice and they don't take our advice. And not only up to them, I should add, it's also up to you, the electorate, because our advice is public. You can basically be part of, or you actually experience the advice as we give it. To say, this is the advice that they have given. So it's up to you now to judge the government based on, you received this good advice, what did you do with it? Or you received this bad advice, what did you do with it?
Okay, but Professor Lovemo Maduku was at great pains to say this needs to be done. It's currently, even though the advice has been given, it has not been taken. He has given advice to the president that we must not be ruling like Mugabe.
Professor Maduku will speak in his capacity as a renowned scholar. He will also speak his views as a citizen. He will also speak as the head of the subcommittee on governance and legislative agenda. He will also speak as part of POLAD and a commentator, a political commentator in the country. But here I'm communicating the resolutions of POLAD. Yes. The resolution of POLAD says we are rejecting these proposed amendments. Now there's a process. Remember, those proposed amendments have already been gazetted. So there's going to be that 90 days, which is about 3 months process before there's public comments and all those things. So the point I'm raising is you can't say the government has rejected.
Can they not
We're
just
not
withdraw?
there yet.
Can they not withdraw the bill?
Well, I do not know. You'll have to ask them. You'll have to ask them. But what I know is that there's going to be a 90-day process. Oh, by the way, remember, we're just adding our views because it might go to because it's coming to the general public, by the way. So when it comes to the general public, you might find that overwhelming majority of our people may actually say, no, we don't approve this. They may actually agree with POLAD. Or you may find that the majority of the people may disagree with us. And once they disagree with us, then you have a situation where we'll have to put our views strongly to say the reason why we're rejecting this is because of AEPCD. And then it will have to come to the public to say the reason why we recommend this is because of AEPCD, and then we will have to weigh which one is superior logic there.
Okay.
I'm saying to you, we may still be persuaded.
Okay.
You see, and we think also the government, because look, the president in many platforms, he has simply said he is taking POLAD serious. That's what he has said. Now, I can tell you from my position as a spokesperson that the president speaks of POLAD from the United Nations level, cascading down to all the structures. You're talking of AU, you're talking of SADC, and you talk of his government, you know that they're in full support of POLAD. So to even double guess him, I think is a bit unfair.
There's a POLAD committee that is going to be engaging Europe and the United States, according to what I've read in the press.
Okay.
What is this committee going to be doing overseas?
Zimbabwe has been in isolation, I think, for almost 20 years now, which is 2 decades. And I showed you the effects of that. You are dealing with really investment strike. And if you don't have investment at all, which means fewer jobs. If you've got fewer jobs, which means fewer taxes. If you've got fewer taxes, which means there's austerity, you can't really spend on social imperatives as a government. So basically, this isolation is affecting everyone. And this is the message that POLAD is taking to the international platform, to say there are disagreements. You are not happy about certain things about the government of Zimbabwe. We have engaged the government of Zimbabwe, by the way, and it's working hard on those reforms. And we are simply saying to the international community, find other ways to influence the government, but not sanctions, because sanctions are not only affecting the government. Sanctions are affecting the ordinary people who, by the way, have no capacity to influence government either way.
Okay. The European Union,
yeah,
they lifted some sanctions on certain people.
Yes, but I had given you a hint in an interview last week.
Yes.
That the work of POLAD is really, it's getting traction, so to speak.
So that lifting of sanctions,
yeah,
is it going to make a difference?
It will make a difference. Let me give you an example. I know a lot of people are like Chiwenga, and no, look, as the head of your household, when if for some reason we are under sanctions, what's going to happen to your children?
Well, they will get hungry.
Thank you. Look, there is no better answer than that. You can't run away from the fact that VP Chiwenga is running the country. You can't run away from that.
Okay.
He's a vice president. You can't run away from that. So if I have to go by your own version, which is a correct one, by the way, if you start sanctioning the ruling elites, you start sanctioning the business elites, you start sanctioning those people that really have a major influence in the lives of general Zimbabweans, you're going to starve those people to death.
So now that Europe has lifted the sanctions,
yeah,
what are you guys going to be talking about with Europe? Because there's no more sanctions from Europe.
No, that is a temporal measure, remember. So those sanctions are reviewed monthly. That's number one. Number two, if I gave you the impression that we're only dealing with the lifting of sanctions, I am sorry. We're not only dealing with the lifting of sanctions, but to a larger degree, it's related. But remember, I was simply saying there are a lot of European enterprises, and even from a government to government level, those relations have been broken. So it's that isolation we want to deal with. We want to find out how can we mend relations, or how can we repair, how can we put them back to where they've been.
Okay, and
before,
then,
or even make them better, higher than where they've been before.
Okay, but we've got ambassadors in those countries. We've got people who are already engaging.
Yeah.
In a committee, there's a committee with which meets with European Union in Zimbabwe.
Yeah. No, it's not a problem. I mean, we can all lend a hand. I like to give this example. I gave it yesterday. I had a roundtable discussion with fellow Zimbabweans who really asked more or less the same question. If your marriage happens to be in trouble, and your pastor, who's a marriage officer, is advising you, and I'm your friend, as you know, and so does it, by the mere basis that you are already engaging a marriage counselor, does it preclude me from giving my 2 cents worth?
Okay, so you are only helping.
Well, only efforts. Helping, yes. It's helping efforts, because it will take all of us, as the president has said, to take all of us. No one has monopoly. No one has monopoly. I mean, for the past 2 decades, as I've already said, we've been engaging and there have been no results. But there's no denying that POLAD has a bit of impact and traction. And I'll tell you why. Maybe it's because we come from a variety pool of society.
Okay.
Yeah. We come from a variety
to the United States of America.
Society. Yes.
You went to the embassy there in the United States of America, Zimbabwe.
Yes.
Do you think going to the US will make a bigger impact?
Oh, indeed. Remember that trip to the US, we'll be meeting with Congress, largely the senators that are really responsible for the sanctions. Those are the people that can start working on the sanctions matter. Those are the people that can shift the view, and those are the people that need to be appraised on the measures that the current government is doing, and even to conscientize them on the impact of sanctions, even beyond the government that they are targeting.
Okay, so you're actually going to go to Congress and address the congressmen?
Yes. Okay. No, we definitely we're not meeting the full Congress.
Yes.
But the key people behind the sanctions, yes, we'll talk to them.
Okay, and then the president invited Nelson Chamisa indirectly. He didn't mention him by name, but he said those who are opposed to POLAD, the door is still open for them to come in. How would that work if Chamisa was to come?
Oh, it will be lovely, huh? It will be lovely. I really hope he sits down and considers deeply what is so wrong about him coming and adding his 2 cents worth and helping the country move forward. You can see our agenda. By the way, it doesn't mean if he comes, then he has to drop all his other claims. He can still maintain his claims, see whichever platform is best suited to hang those claims. But POLAD really about pushing Zimbabwe forward. Really. It's really about the people of Zimbabwe. Yes, there is drama here and there. It's small teething problems. It's to be expected. You know, that's the dynamics of a group work.
Okay.
Yeah, the dynamics of a group work. But no, POLAD is a good idea whose time really was long overdue.
All right. And our sources during the week told us that Dr. Thokozani Kupe had boycotted the summit in Harare. Was that true?
Well, I'm speaking here on behalf of POLAD, right?
Yes.
You would know that not everyone can attend every meeting, and I'm reliably informed. I know that she did write to the head of secretariat to inform her that she would not be able to attend on this one. But she's not the only one. One of the co-conveners, retired Justice Nare, was not there. So it's not really possible for someone to attend all the meetings. It's not going to be possible.
The thing is, there are so many big problems in Zimbabwe.
Indeed.
And people are looking for something big to come out of POLAD.
Yeah.
There is no cash right now in the banks. That problem has been with Zimbabweans since forever. There is no stable currency in Zimbabwe. There's bond notes. If one of those or two were to be fixed, that would be a big change.
Yeah, but okay, let me remind you again. We are just an advisory body. We are not the executive. The people responsible for that implementation is the executive. our summit came up with a lot of proposals. They are not yet processed, by the way, but it was live streaming. I think it's on Open Parliament Zimbabwe. They did speak to the issues of the currency, its stability, the country profile, because it also matters. Because remember, these things that you want solutions to, they don't happen in isolation.
Okay, so POLAD is going to be dealing with issues, but there's no big template or big list which I can say these are the 100 issues that people have been waiting for dialogue.
Yeah.
But somehow I don't think this is what Zimbabweans expected. When Zimbabweans were thinking of dialogue, they were thinking of two different sides, the opposition and government, talking about how to get out of the problems that we have, but not under the supervision of government.
No, we're not under the supervision of government. I don't know what gave you that impression, because I've always explained to you that the government does not supervise anything. That's why you can find someone like a Prof saying, if our proposals are not accepted, we may as well consider having to close shop as far as POLAD is concerned. Now, you don't say those things if you're under the supervision of government. We're not under the supervision of government. I have never had to report to government on anything, POLAD.
Okay. Yeah. I think we should end it here.
Okay.
Very, very clear what we've just said. And we'll talk again very, very soon.
Okay.
Thank you very much for joining us, Mr. Khaliphani Phugeni. Is there anything that you want to say before we close?
No, I want to reiterate what I've already said, that POLAD is the best idea to happen in our lifetime. Young people, you need to support this, because this investment strike, or where people are not coming to invest, it's affecting the young people more than anyone else, because there's no technology transfer. The fourth industrial revolution is coming, but Zimbabwe won't take part in that, and that affects young people a lot. So young people are out of employment, a lot of things are really going wrong. So POLAD is really trying to help in that regard, to deal with isolation, to deal with investments, look at the structure of the economy, see what we can do, deal with issues that have to do with nation building and peace building, to see how as a country we can come together, close ranks, converge, and see how we can move our country forward. Not only for ourselves, but for posterity, really.
Right. Thank you very much. And we'll see you again very, very soon. If you're watching this on WhatsApp, please send it to as many people as possible. If you're watching on Facebook and YouTube, please like, comment, and share. Thank you very much.